The Grey Death Legion is one of the most storied mercenary units in the Inner Sphere, but they faded into the past. Now, Ronan and Isabel Carlyle strike out on their own, rebuilding the legendary unit of their forebears in the Ill Clan era in this brand new collection of stories from Jason Schmetzer. Ronan and Bell have the training, intelligence, and most importantly experience to carry their family's legacy into a new era, and collected here for the first time in Grey Death Rising. Read where it all begins. Again, get Grey Death Rising at Battletech.com or wherever you buy your Battletech fiction.
Welcome back to Tuesday Newsday. We've missed you. We've been off for 2 weeks. So we're back finally. I'm Rem. I'm the Community and Marketing Director for Catalyst Game Labs, and I'm here with my buddy, Mike Richie, who is the Director of the Board Game Division. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Rem. How are you?
I didn't just spend 3 hours with you before this.
Not at all. Not on our weekly awesome production meeting.
Oh my gosh. Tuesday is a meeting heavy day, and then, I just made it better because I was like, Tuesday Newsday sounds cooler than any other day of the week, so I'll just throw this all into one day.
Yep, Tuesday's easily my back-to-back-to-back meeting day.
Yep. Yeah, my team for my company has been vying for my attention because I've been gone traveling for 2 weeks, and I'm like, guys, Monday through Wednesday is my meeting day. Tuesday's the worst. And then Thursday and Friday is when I actually try to get work done. So
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place.
Yeah. Well, excited to talk to you. But first, we've got all the news to fill you in on. So bear with me. I did take a little Post-it note to try to organize some of my thoughts, but I've got this is my life. I scribble everywhere on everything. And
me too.
Yeah. So I've got notes all over the place because I wanted to fill you guys in on plenty since it's been a while. So bear with me if I seem a little disorganized because that is absolutely the case. The first week that we missed was because Mike's really quiet. Let's turn Mike up. Discord all the way up. You're blasted. So
is that better?
Hopefully that's better. If not, let me know in chat, and I will just tell Mike to start screaming his part. So Mike and I were both at Origins the first week that we missed here, and Origins is one of my favorite shows. Like, it used to be my favorite show, and then I started getting to go to more shows, and I'm like, there's so many that I love. Because Origins, it's a big con, but it still has the intimacy of a small con. Like, Gencon, you know you're missing 8,000 things, but Origins feels like you have time to sit and talk to people.
Yeah, well, even working there, because I work way more cons than I actually attend cons. Origins, I actually do still get to have fun and get to schedule some stuff in. Whereas Gencon is an awesome show, but if you're working Gencon, it's a 4-day show. It's a 10-day trip for me.
Yeah. Well, and Gencon is so packed, but I am setting some boundaries this year. Last year, I ran myself ragged between the streaming booth and then like I had only been with Catalyst like 4 months at that point, and
Yeah.
I didn't realize like so like Lauren would pull me into meetings and stuff like that, and like, oh, they're come to the booth, there's people I want you to meet, where I could have just said, cool, give them my card and I'll get with them later. Like I've learned because I really want to still make time for the things that I love, and so I am making sure that at Gen Con I have time for one BattleTech game and one Shadowrun game. So that's my and I'll come by the demo booth and play.
Good. You gotta play some Parachute Panda.
Yeah. I really need to up my strategy with that, because like I've played it now, and now it's like I want to get vicious with it, where it's like I'm gonna win.
I watched a family at Origins, like, I think, tear themselves apart playing it, so...
The one I'm still not entirely... I've only played once, and I'm still not entirely set on the rules, is Fandooble. So that one...
So funny you should ask about that was, remember you had a question that came up when we were at Gamma, and I was like, oh, darn. Well, I had something that designers call version creep. And version creep is when you design a game, you play it 20 different ways. So then it goes to production and you don't play it for a few months, and then you got to start playing again. And you realize, did I take care of that? So there was something in the rules that addressed all the concerns we'd come up with that I had totally forgotten was there. And then I started playing it again at UK Games Expo, Gamecom Camp, and Origins. Like, oh, we totally made this the right way.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, version creep's a real thing.
Woof. All right. So Origins was a ton of fun. Lots of great meetings. I'm blanking on most of them. Like, one of the things, the busier that we've been in the past, it's been 15 months that I've been with Catalyst now, and
you can't get rid of us.
The more events I go to, the worse my memory gets, where I'm like, what did I do 2 weeks ago? I don't remember anymore. So a lot of great meetings. Got to actually go through the vendor hall, which was great, and get a lot of networking done. It was a fun show. I always really enjoyed it. Had time for Shadowrun Scotch Squad, which I love.
Yep.
And
bunch of great people.
Yeah, hangouts. Got to reconnect with some old friends that I made at Gamehole Con that help run True Dungeon. And you got to
run through that True Dungeon, which was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, it was great.
The owners are going to be at Gen Con, so I'm excited to hang out with them again. So, gosh. So after Origins, I had to drive 11 hours with my husband to get him and our dogs back home, and then immediately fly to Los Angeles. This was for last week. And so there's a little bit of a story here, guys. This is my super exciting big news. I've been keeping this pretty close to the chest until now, except with like a very small group. But I'm allowed to talk about it. So you're part of the very small group.
Okay.
I meant small people, it's So, after a lot of delays, I ended up getting there 2 hours late. I was supposed to get there Monday night, and my flight was delayed 2 hours, and I missed my connection in Chicago. Oh, and my plane was diverted to Buffalo. So that was a whole fun thing. So I ended up booking a flight for the next morning at like 7 a.m. so I could still get to this on time. We were meeting at noon Pacific. And my plane got delayed another 3 hours, so I was still 2 hours late for... Yeah, it was a lot of fun travel, but
at least it wasn't a cool thing you were going to. It wasn't anything like you were really excited about, right?
Well, luckily I had a good support system. So Randall beat me there, and he kind of handled it. So we went to a studio in LA and taught BattleTech to a bunch of actors, including Freddie Prinze Jr., B. Dave Walters, Alicia Marie, Maud Garrett, Elliot. I'm not sure Elliot's last name. He does 3D modeling and effects for film. Claire Green, who is Seth Green's wife. Two other actors, John, who is their studio production person who does the filming and does a lot of podcasts and stuff with Freddie. And it was wild, guys, like seeing this group of gamers. So this whole story comes back earlier. So while at KerenskyCon, which was the week before Adepticon, I was notified that Freddie Prinze Jr. had posted on his Instagram of a BattleTech mini that he had finished painting. And so we were like, Freddie likes Battletech. So I found out he was going to be at C2E2, which is Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. I flew to Chicago for that, just for that event. I actually hate C2E2. It's way too crowded for me. I used to live in Chicago, so I used to go. Stood in his autograph line, brought him a bunch of Battletech stuff that I just had at my place, and was like, hey, I'm with Catalyst. We'd love to work with you. And he's like, please message me on Instagram. So I did. We had a Zoom call, and then before we know it, we're flying to LA to his studio to teach this cast to play. So his plan is that so before COVID, he had a streaming platform on YouTube. I'm going to put the link in chat actually here, so you guys can go follow. And he used to do a lot of X-Wing and stuff like that. And he just wants to play. Like, he wants nothing from the company in terms of money or anything, just wants to play games and, like, get some promo or whatever. So, we were like, yeah, we'll support you. So, we sent them a bunch of stuff. We flew out there, to teach him. And before COVID, his studio got broken into and a bunch of his equipment was either stolen or damaged. And he was like, I'm never doing this again. Well, post-COVID, he's like, I'm doing this again. So it's one more name that wasn't able to make it on Tuesday last week, but that is going to be involved, is he and Sam Witwer are reboosting this YouTube channel, and they want to play Battletech. And Witwer is a huge Battletech fan already. They've worked together on Star Wars, and so they wanted to be able to play Battletech, but also kind of role play it. And so they wanted to, like, learn about the different systems. I told them about Alpha Strike, that it's a shorter one, and there's pros and cons to role playing that, because, you know, your mech might, if you get really into one of your mech characters and they get blown up because they have, you know, one structure and one armor, then, you know, not much to role play there. But we talked about aces, so that they could potentially do co-op and have a team. But it's going to be him and Sam, and then I think they're going to have, like, a rotating cast with some of the rest of these guys. So yeah, we went out there, we played Alpha Strike. Randall taught them everything they need to kind of get started. They all had to go right after Alpha Strike, but they're interested in us coming back out and helping teach Classic, to teach the role-playing games and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see what they do.
That's fascinating. There's so much potential there for cool connections, and just seeing the hobby, or seeing our game just get to an audience that might not have seen it before. It was so surreal, and I think there's going to be a lot of partnerships that come from this. Talking with with John, his studio person, who's phenomenal and so knowledgeable about gaming and film. We have some ideas in the works, nothing that's confirmed that I could talk about yet, but there are plans starting to form, and just the energy in that room, like, it's a small little studio space, and walking in, so Randall had them divided into teams from the Alpha Strike box. And so, like, anyone from the clans that would roll a hit, their whole team would just, like, yeah! And like, the energy in the room was almost, like, too big for the room. And then Freddie was super cute, because anytime one of the mechs would die, he would, like, pick it up to go put it away and be like, oh, I had so much fun painting this, though. Like, it was really cute. So just wild, the stories that we got to share, and the opportunities that are going to be there. He's already sent me, Freddie, my life got weird. Like, I get Instagram notifications that, like, Freddie Prinze Jr. just sent you a message. I'm like, okay, what did he say? But he sends me pictures of his painting all the time now. He asks questions. He sent me photos from, here, actually, I can pull up one of the photos real quick. I mean, this industry makes your life weird. The longer you're in this industry, like, I come home and I tell, like, my gaming group, my friends here that are local, the stuff we're doing, and it almost sounds unbelievable.
So there's Randall and yeah, there it goes. It's now in focus. Randall and the group, just wild.
There's Randall smiling as always.
Yes. So just incredible. But I've been dying to share this with you guys. It was so cool. Um, it was just so cool. So anyway, I got to do that in LA. And there were a couple other networking things that happened both for my company and for Catalyst. So we're gonna see more soon that I can't quite talk about yet. But incredible. And so anyway, that was like the first thing I wanted to share with you guys. I was like, we're gonna talk about Origins and then LA. So forgive me for missing Tuesday Newsday last week, but I was very, very busy.
Being stuck in several airports. Yes, we were.
I mean, listen, on 3 hours of sleep, I was running on pure enthusiasm at that point. So
That I had to go to LA one time to film a thing for one of our board games, Elements, and I had 103 fever. I had food poisoning and 103 fever, and that camera starts rolling, and I'm just like,
you
and
have
I
to.
gotta, yeah, and I'm like, I gotta make it through 45 minutes, and then I can like just go in a back alley and die if I need to.
My biggest fear going to Origins the week before, because Freddie actually wanted to meet Friday of Origins, and I would have dropped everything, gone from Origins to LA back to Origins if I needed to, but I was on the main stage on Friday, so I just couldn't. So he moved it to
Right.
Tuesday, and I was like, please don't get COVID. Like, please don't get COVID. So thankfully, everything worked out. But man, I can't wait to see what comes of this. Please follow his channel. I think we're gonna see a lot of great partnerships from this coming up. So
Yeah, it's extraordinarily exciting, and good job. That's just a win for us all.
yeah, and just showing up at an autograph line and like the things that can happen. Just wild, just wild.
Weird life, and get used to it, because
Yeah.
the weird stuff just keeps happening.
Yeah, I still occasionally get like Luis Carrazzo or Anjali Bhamani texting me, and I'm like, what is my life? So
Yep.
I squeal a little bit. I keep it very cool when I'm around them, and then I go fall down and like writhe a little bit
Sure.
when it's all done. And
Yep. There's a handful of people in various industries that I've met that I'm just like, no, I'm not sitting here doing this right now.
last Gencon, you remember I joined you late for the dinner, for the Catalyst dinner, because I was at
Yep.
Peter Adkisson's dinner sitting next to Joe Manganiello, and I'm like, I've got my husband on one side and Joe on the other, and I'm like, I could die happy right now. Like,
Oh, I thought it was like, sorry, husband.
Oh, he knows what this is. It's
Oh, okay.
he
No.
knows. So anyway, we got to move on from this, but geez, it was just wild, and I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I got some news. So, like I said at the beginning, Mike and I were just on a 3-hour director's call for Catalyst, planning planning for Gencon. So I've got a few items that are going to be there that I'm going to share with you guys. So we've got for Shadowrun, we've got the Shadowrun First Edition is going to be there, and the Spell Scroll, which we've talked about before. This is by Echo Chernik, and it's basically going to be a really long art piece that has a bunch of never before released spells on it, and artwork and stuff like that. And I think is it still going to have the gold embossing and stuff like that on it?
Simulated, but so here's the thing. This project broke several of our manufacturers. I went to 4 different manufacturers before I found someone who could even make it, because it's just so big and so complicated. Like, not only is it 7 feet long, it's printed on a faux silk that, if you don't know it's fake silk, you won't know. Full color, double-sided, with some gold ink. And then it's actually on a scroll. Then it goes in a bag, and then it's in this box with a Woodburn Shadowrun logo on it. It is stupidly bespoke, and I broke 4 manufacturers trying to get it made.
And then on top of that, there's going to be an app that you can look at the scroll, and it has bonus content that's in AR, which is...
Yep, which is never before, from what I hear. Like I said, I helped get it made, but I had nothing to do with the art or the Shadowrun side of it. From what I hear, it is spells that have never been utilized before, and this is pretty much where you get the spells. So it's definitely an up your game, both cosmetically and thematically and mechanically.
I cannot wait to see this. I've been hearing about it and seeing a couple pictures here and there, but I cannot wait for Gen Con to see it. So all of that is coming, plus what I told you guys a couple weeks ago, months, I don't know. I told you about the Shadowrun dice tray and showed pictures of it, and for the 35th anniversary. And then we've also got the Shadowrun dice set that's going to come in a nice little box. It comes with a blacklight flashlight because they're all UV sensitive. So
I've seen that. I've seen the pre-production. It's so cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not to shame Jason and the others, but like the last dice set I got, that was the Shadowrun dice set that was at Gen Con, are like this. I think they're supposed to be gold, but I always think of them as like poop brown. I'm like, I still have them by me here. The lighting doesn't quite work.
Oh yeah, that's kind of.
But I'm like, I'm, as a fan, I'm really glad that I got to design these because I'm like, I'm a fan. This is what I want. Like,
yeah. Well, that's how I felt with the scroll. Like,
yeah.
The scroll was kind of brought. The back history is because I do a lot of production for Catalyst. For anyone who doesn't know, and like the Shadowrun team said, we want to do this awesome thing, and we have this awesome art, but we have no idea how to make this happen. I'm like, say no more, you know.
Awesome. Now for BattleTech, there are a couple things we were a little bit sneaky and took a second look at the Kickstarter because we had hoped initially that we could fulfill Mercenaries by Gen Con so that we could release everything at Gen Con and get it there. We're not doing bad, but that's not going to happen. So we kind of took a look at like what is not stated as exclusive for the Kickstarter, so we could get a couple of things there to get people excited about. So the standard format of the Universe book is going to be there. Star League 1 and 2 are going to be there. So Command Lance, that's been out for a little while now, is going to be there with the pre-painted Orion. The Star League Assault Lance, second Star League Assault Lance, is going to be coming out at Gen Con for the first time. I'm not sure which mech is in that one that's pre-painted, but I'm excited.
Not sure either. Yeah.
Force Manual Davian is going to be released there. And the dropships from Ironwind Metals from the Kickstarter. Those were, for those of you who were part of the Kickstarter, you'll remember that those got added during the Pledge Manager in collaboration with Ironwind Metals. So those were not part of the original Kickstarter, so we're going to bring those as well. Right. Super excited.
We're holding back so much product because of Kickstarter, but it's so exciting.
So exciting. There's going to be the 40th anniversary hoodies, and then we're looking at a t-shirt design or so as well. So
and mugs.
And mugs. Hey, I don't have one of those yet. I want one. Neat.
Well, see, I needed one. Well, this is the one that I was able to take pictures of to put it up on our website. So
fair. All right. So I went through Gen Con merch. The next thing that I have for you guys is a little Mercenaries shipping update. So many of you have seen the news and the backer updates that have been going out. Some of you have gotten the notifications from QML that they're on the way. So shipping is in process. I have a couple of notes. Let me see if Tyler sent me the note I asked for. Of course he did, because he's Tyler. Ooh. All right, so QML is determining fulfillment groups by number of picks. The largest groups of backers by pick totals are being shipped while also working on other groups simultaneously when they're able to. Address changes through the QML survey should include email when backing, current address, and new address in first message for quickest resolution. So if you need to do an address change in the QML through the QML survey, please include your email that you used when backing, your current address, and the new address for the quickest resolutions. I got that now. I read that correctly this time. There is a possibility that pin cases have imperfections. The case was only to get them to you. These are not collector's items. In any instance so far, pins have been in pristine condition. So that's just a cautionary message update from behind the scenes. And then one more little update for you guys. So there is going to be, for US backers anyway, I'm not sure about Canada. Oh, US and Canada. If I read ahead on this. So the story here is that Art of War and Art of Cooking, the cookbook, and the Sun Tzu translated by Jamie Wolfe, they both were going to be arriving at QML later than everything else. If we waited for them, it would have held up shipping by another 1 to 2 months. So instead, we at Catalyst expense are going to just ship those separately to US and Canada. So all shipping is going to continue moving forward. But US and Canada, since those are getting done first, will be shipped separately. So just wanted to give you guys an update on that. I think that was everything for Mercs. For Leviathans, a little update. So molding is underway for the Leviathan and Conquest class ships. The updated con exclusive cards from the original Leviathans release are now integrated. We are finalizing the Admiral and Captain cards and the starter box, including pre-final die cut sheets. I think some of this was already in the last backer update too, but in case you've missed it. The airplane tokens and campaign box maps are nearly complete. And then from Randall in the meeting, the rulebook is almost done. We got it back from layout, so it's going through a final proof and final then feedback to layout. As soon as it's ready to print, we'll be dropping the PDF to backers. So that's coming up quickly here. So, whew.
Also, I just approved all of the Leviathans patches today for mass production. So it's a small part, but they look really cool.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
So we went with we did a little bit of research and we did what were military patches, what size were the flags on military uniforms back then, and we matched that size. So
cool. Awesome.
Just a fun little add-on.
Neato. Frostpunk, the role-playing game. If you're following the Kickstarter, I think the link is in the description. The Frostpunk Kickstarter has been pushed. It was going to be launching July 9th, but after working with 11-bit on some adjusted art and graphics, we are pushing to August 6th. This is also going to push us a little closer to be the pre-promotion almost for 11-bit for their Frostpunk 2 Kickstarter, which I believe is launching on September 20th is the last I heard. So it got pushed a little bit as well. So that's the Frostpunk news. Whew. And then the last bit of news. See what happens when I'm gone for 2 weeks? We get all of this news. It's already 4:30, guys.
Wow.
Just a quick update as well, because we know it's slow as hell, but we are working on it. International shipping through our store. We are working with a contractor to revamp the website, which will allow for international shipping and those lower charges. We do have some negotiations happening with some partners in the UK and Australia. So nothing is finalized that I can talk about just yet, but it is going slower than any of us would like, but it is going. Yeah, gosh, that's everything.
Almost everything. There's some board game news too.
Good. I need a break from talking, so
okay.
Let's start with that, Mike. Before I start asking you about you and stuff like that, what's new with board games?
Well, we are Overlords in Training, which was a game by Randall's son Kenyon, is shipping. There's a ton of ancillary product that's all either been made or in production. So we will be looking to fill that Kickstarter in August, late August, early September, and with a street date in November. We're going to push the heck out of it at PAX Unplugged. We released 2 games this year so far, Fanduel and the Dragon's Eye, as well as Parachute Panda. Both of them are exceeding expectations, which is kind of awesome. We've got a beautiful booth set up at Gencon where you're going to be able to play and demo a lot of our products. we've just got a tremendous amount of stuff about to come out in this coming year, and it's we're about to grow really fast. This division.
Yeah. Yeah. So the stuff that I'm aware of, which I think is some of the stuff that's in progress, I might not be as aware of, but the way my brain is categorizing it. So this year we've had at the end of last year we had Seasons of Arcadia, then Parachute Panda, which, by the way, I need to send you the file for the pull-up banner that we used for the trade show kits, because like people could not walk past us with it's the little guy with the parachute and he's looking up at the anvil and it's really cute.
Yeah,
like people cannot. They're like, what's this?
Yeah.
So Parachute Panda, then Fandooble. And then we've kind of been a little slow for a little bit because we've got some things we've been working on. One is the Kickstarter for Snoop Cereals Get in the Game.
Right.
Anything you want to say about that one?
Sure. So Snoop Cereals, it was very much a different thing for us to be working with Master P and Snoop Dogg. But very, very cool at the same time because they have started their own breakfast cereal company, which is addressing a lot of food security issues in underdeveloped areas. So the game, they've made a roster of cool cartoon characters to go with the various cereals, and they asked us to put them into a game, family-friendly, accessible game, which we've done, basing it off of some of our successful games previously in our tile layers. That is coming along. The game's kind of ready to go. Right now, we're talking to Master P and Snoop, trying to gauge what's the best way to approach this, because we can each reach two very, very different audiences. And so we're just kind of taking our time to make sure this one gets to as many people as possible.
Cool.
And that's where we're at with that.
Awesome. The next one that I'm aware of is Runefire.
Runefire. This has been something that actually, there's several games we're working on that I wish I could tell my 12-year-old self I'd be working on one day. Runefire is our collaboration with Paizo. So it is a Pathfinder-themed card game based off of our incredibly successful Dungeons & Dragons Dragonfire and our Shadowrun Crossfire engine. It is a living card game. It's not a collectible card game, but it's a living card game in the fact that you build and expand. It's cooperative, so it's your plucky party of adventurers against the monsters and other terrible fiends of Golarion. But this is fully set in the Pathfinder universe and will be canon to the lore of the Pathfinder universe and actually expand upon the canon. That is a huge undertaking, and it's actually being headed up by Randall himself. So we'll be looking for that early 2025.
Cool.
Yeah, the Kickstarter for that anyway.
Cool. Then there's a Voltron board game.
That's the other 12-year-old self one. So we're doing a lot of Voltron products. Some of them are headed up by Jason Hardy in the RPG division. So we're doing two versions of a Voltron role-playing game, both the original Defender of the Universe back from 1984, as well as the Netflix series Voltron Legendary Defender. This is actually Voltron's 40th anniversary, just like BattleTech's 40th anniversary. Apparently, giant stompy robots were the thing in the mid-'80s. So yeah, we've got a board game coming out as well. That will be a 2025 release. That's going to be a cooperative game where you fly around as your lions, fighting the evil forces of the Galar Empire. Eventually triggered into the game is one of 5 terrifying row beasts will appear, and then you get to take your lion cards and actually form Voltron, and then you battle as a cohesive unit trying to defeat the row beast before it gets away.
Voltron, the board game for Voltron, and I know playtesting means things can change and stuff like that, but
Sure.
That's really the first board game I've gotten to playtest with you guys in person, and it's so funny because what I do is I love gaming, but what I do with marketing is so not on the creation side.
Right.
And so being part of that is super cool and a little peek behind the curtain, and I love it.
It's fun. It's so much fun just creating games, and it's been one of my passions for a long time, and I'm just thrilled I get to work with amazing people and get to make cool things.
Yeah. Best jobs. So then oh gosh, then there's Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda, yep. Again, we've got the Kung Fu Panda license. We're doing kind of a broad range of products. Simple card games that you just grab and go. We've got we're talking about like the possibility of something a little more complex, like an RPG. But we're also I can't reveal what it is yet, but there's an actual Kung Fu Panda game/toy that we're working on. Yeah.
Neat.
That has been an engineering challenge, to say the least.
Yeah, cool. Now the next one that's like an original design, I believe, is Flippin' Ninja.
That would be next. Yeah, the next one is Flippin' Ninja. The art's it's a thematic abstract, which the Catalyst board game and its predecessor, Rather Dashing Games, was kind of known for. Games like Seasons of Arcadia, Element, Duke, Jarl, Centurion. We love our thematic abstracts. This one was pitched to us several years ago, and we're finally able to bring it to light. And it is a cool hidden knowledge abstract game where your ninjas and samurai are trying to eliminate the opponent's daimyo. So we hired a artist that has done a lot of work with anime and Crunchyroll. So it's got this cute, amazing anime feel. And that's going to go to press relatively soon. So that could be a holiday release, but I don't want to promise it.
Okay, neat.
Yeah.
So I think those are all the ones that I'm aware of. What am I missing?
Oh gosh, where's my list? Let's see. Well, we've got Shadowrun Takedown that's still in production. You know, we've run that Kickstarter. That's to get into production. We're working on. Ooh, I'm not sure if I can say this one yet. We're working on.
Redacted.
Yeah, no, it's
Don't say anything that I have to do more marketing for at the moment. We're tapped.
It's a very inexpensive game where you buy just a small pack of cards, and then you play someone else's small pack of cards. But doesn't matter how many small packs of cards we come with, whatever theme, they're all interchangeable. So if you had a license, we do not have these licenses. But if you had Mickey Mouse versus Iron Man, you could play that.
Cool. Yeah. Neat. It kind of reminds me of what's that? Oh gosh, it's a superhero card game where you argue with each other about who would win. Like
that. Oh, yeah. Think like that. Think like the abstract game version of that.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, that game, gosh, that's going to bug me what it's called, but it's now I have to explain it in case people don't know. So it's like, who would win? Batman with a super fight. Yes. Batman with a lightsaber, or a toddler the size of a mountain. Like,
the answer's always Batman. That's not a fair. Like, it's almost always Batman. The only person Batman can't defeat is Batman. Like, that's
awesome. Thank you, Andrew. You got super fight too. Awesome. Oh, I love that game.
Now that said, I just came from Origins, and you saw a awesome game that we're going to try and get under contract that got pitched to us.
Yep.
I can't say anything about that yet because we're under super NDA. Saw some great stuff at Origins. We as we get rolling, there's no end to the board games we're going to make.
Yeah. I feel like right now, there's so many offers and IPs and everything else. Like I don't even know we don't have time to do it all.
I know.
Like the time for gaming is now, and it's pretty great. So I'm excited for you, even though it sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it's work out month though.
Good. All right, let's learn a little bit about you before we have to jump over. This hour's going too fast.
It is.
Jump over to questions. So, Mike, how the hell did you get into designing board games? Where do you come from? Who are you?
I come from the woods of New England, which is true. No, I grew up in a gaming family and with gaming friends. All right, and so I started D&D when I was 12. It's kind of like the very typical Gen X version of who got into gaming. Gaming was decidedly not cool, except with my circle of friends, and we didn't care who didn't like us because we liked each other. I got into Magic, played semi-competitively for a while. I was always redoing rules to games. Apparently, I have authority from my grandmother that I assigned point values to all the different color Mancala stones when I was 8. And did stuff like that. We made our own risk. Back when there was only Risk, right? We made our own Risk maps for Lord of the Rings and the Belgariad and for Star Wars, and then we made up our own Risk games. Eventually, it got to the point where I had some designs and people were convincing me to try to sell them, and I didn't know anything about the game industry. I'd never really been to a con even. But my friend owned a toy store in Rhode Island, and he put me as an employee so I could go to Toy Fair. And I walk into Toy Fair, and by the way, Toy Fair is held at the Javits Center in Manhattan and is literally 26 acres of Toy Fair. Now, the board game section's only about an acre or so of that, but it's still huge, and especially from someone who'd never done this before, right? So I've just got these little homemade prototypes, stuff that I wouldn't even dare show off nowadays. But fortunately, one of the very first people I met who was working for Alliance Distributors at the time was Mike Webb. Yeah, I met Mike Webb within like 20 minutes of walking into this place.
What is Mike Webb works for? That's hard. Mike Webb works for Paizo, and what is his job there?
I keep Paizo glued together. No, he's sales. Sales,
okay.
And yeah.
But yeah, Pathfinder. Go to Mike Webb.
But at the time he worked for, Pathfinder didn't exist yet. At the time he worked for Alliance Distributors, and Mike Webb is just one of the super best people in the industry.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, you're a first-time developer, go here, 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 and here. Right? I know these companies are willing to talk to designers. Tell them Mike from Alliance sent you over, right? And so I actually ended up getting signed with a company called Mind Twister USA, and that got me in as a freelancer. I freelanced for several different companies, did some really interesting stuff for like Woodward Skate Camp and X Games and things like that. And then eventually a friend of mine and I decided to start our own company, which was Rather Dashing Games.
Ooh.
And then we had Rather Dashing Games for a while, and then that eventually went through a change of ownership and hands, eventually landing at Catalyst, mostly because Lauren Coleman likes abstract games, again, like we said, and was doing anything he could to secure Element, I think I was just part of the collateral damage that you had to take to get Elements. And then my role at Catalyst grew, and we turned the Rather Dashing stuff into the Catalyst Board Games division, and so now here I am.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, so Rather Dashing and Redshift just this past year merged to become Catalyst Board Game division.
Yep, Catalyst Board Games.
So what was the theory around that?
We had a bunch of different... This may come as a shock to you working at Catalyst, but we were spread too thin and trying to do too many different things at once. And so trying to run Rather Dashing as a company, as a separate company, trying to run Redshift as a separate company, and Catalyst trying to produce their own board games aside of Shadowrun and Battletech, it just wasn't working. And so we talked, as Catalyst was... Exactly. As Catalyst was growing, we talked seriously about not only a board game division, but that divisioning out the company, it was time. So we took advantage of that, built out the board game division, but also built out the role-playing games division, headed up by Jason Hardy, and the fiction division headed up by John Helfers. And then you have Catalyst proper, Catalyst Prime. Lauren's still kind of going back and forth on what he wants to call it. That still covers, Battletech, miniatures, some of our larger signature games we're working on that we can't talk about right now. Leviathans, and so we've already seen, kind of like if you build it, they will come. Mm-hmm. Once we built the company out into these divisions, like all of a sudden, Frostpunk became a thing for role playing. Voltron became a thing for both role playing and board games. So we're growing. It allowed the company to grow fast, and then actually, require a competent marketing manager, and along comes Rem.
I don't know about that. I told Lauren so my background is really in like operations and being director of operations and stuff, and when I talked to him about because my company was managing the Kickstarters for Catalyst, and we were negotiating for mercenaries. And I was like, this is why you should just hire me for marketing. And he's like, what would that look like? And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not an expert at it, but I'm better than all the old white men you have in the company right now.
I feel attacked.
But gosh, every day we've learned new things, and it's gone really well. A lot of growth. So, but thank you. So that's kind of how the board game division came to be.
Sure.
Now you get to do a lot of. This will be my last question for you before we go to community questions.
All right.
You get to go to a lot of cons, toy fair events, stuff like that. Where have your travels taken you lately?
Lately, my gosh. I just got back from Origins with, where you were. I was at Origins. So let's backtrack. I was at Origins. Before that, I was at a week in Edmonton, Canada for Gamescom Canada. A week before that, this is all one trip, by the way. A week before that, I was touring Ireland, Scotland, and the United Kingdom with Randall and Bryn. We did UK Games Expo. Then we toured a bunch of stores on Randall's 40th Unification Tour. And then we went to the Irish Wargaming Nationals in Limerick, Ireland for a few days before we went over to Canada. Before all of that, I was in Las Vegas at the Licensing Expo with Lauren and Talon. So I had a 5-week-long trip.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, I'm lucky because for 3 of those weeks, not Vegas and not Origins, I had my 12-year-old son with me, which is awesome because his life is not normal because he's so immersed in this industry, and his life got weird earlier.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's honestly, we need a bigger team just for all the events that we're doing.
It's nuts, but it's a great life.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Mike. I'm gonna head over to answer some questions. A few are for you. A lot of questions about some of our announcements. So here we go.
Right.
Lorcan asked, did Mike and company get to do any sightseeing in Dublin on their way home?
Dublin a bit. We were in the north of Ireland, and then we took a train to Dublin, had lunch, bought some rugby balls, and then we drove to Limerick. So we weren't in Dublin a whole lot. We were in Belfast, got to see Giant's Causeway. We spent a lot of our time around Limerick, but we had some locals that lived there. We got to see stone circles and ancient stuff that's not on the tourist maps, right?
So cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I had a follow-up question for that, but I don't remember what it was that I was going to ask. But BattleTech questions. Beware the... I remember. I was going to say thanks, Dave and Shock, for being moderators today. Appreciate you and feeding me questions. BattleTech, Beware the Quemmons. BattleTech Activity Book 3 is out on Amazon. Will it be on the CGL store soon? I don't have that info. I did see your comment pop up in chat, so I did copy and paste it to the team to respond to. So if I see a response to that, we'll let you know. But so far, nothing.
Yeah, it's print on demand, so I don't know. Like getting
Is
it
it?
through Amazon you're getting it as your print on demand item.
So my guess would be then probably what we do is we print some for cons, but that's probably where the release is.
Chances are, but John Helfers would be better suited to answer that.
Yeah. Lorcan asks, will Recognition Guide Ill-Clan Volume 2 be out at Gen Con or possibly before? Lauren didn't mention that one to me as we were talking before this. Do you know anything, Mike?
Volume 2. It is... Actually, let me check something. I don't know. It's getting ready to... It's in the process of shipping, so I can't say yes confident.
Okay. Paragon 707, when will the second Star League pack be available for retailers? Unknown at this time. We are actually bringing some of the Star League Assault Lance. We're air shipping it to Gen Con, just for Gen Con. So everything else from the shipment still has to make its way across the water and get to the warehouse. So
air shipping is pricey.
Yeah. So unknown at this time. Phoenix Rises asks, is there a timeline for when the BattleTech Aces deck becomes an official release? So, tell you what, I do have information on Aces, but I don't know what we're publicly saying yet, so let me find out, and because I'd like to give updates on Aces, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So stay tuned on that one. We have news. I'm just gonna leave it at that. To Square asks, any information on Trial by Bloodright? I know it got pushed. I don't know why. I know that Craig Reed's book is coming out before that now. And I think we're hoping July, but again, without John Helfers here, that's a good question for him that we can totally follow up on. Battletech Kickstarter questions. Andrew Weissner, who is doing the shipping for Europe? I don't know. I again, with me being gone, it's pretty much Tyler that's in that. I will pass your question to Tyler.
As in, like, who is in, like,
I
who
think,
are we partnering with?
well, QML, but who's their local hub?
Games Quest.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. You have info I don't. Kevin
And
Sheary.
shipping.
Yeah. Kevin Sheary said, yeah, Mike's other job, because we can't have just one here at Catalyst.
That's right.
Didn't Update 88 say QML had all the books? I don't understand. So, probably, I don't know what's in the updates, but keep in mind that this is like a big group of people that is putting all of this together, and so we're feeding you the information that we get as we get it. So even the info that I gave you guys, if you have, like, at the beginning of the episode, if you had follow-up questions, I literally just quoted you the stuff that was sent to me, and that's all I have on the info. So, while we have, again, all the books were in place for shipping to begin, and I think I saw a follow-up question as well about, like, international having to wait 1 to 2 months because the Art of War and Art of Cooking, that's not how it works. It's that QML has budgeted time for this project along with all of their other projects. So if we push a massive project like this because we're waiting on these 2 books, then all of a sudden they have to fit these other projects in that are scheduled for when this is going to happen. So the whole thing gets pushed. So because of their timeline for shipping, that's why we decided to go now. It's not that the entire project and all shipping would get pushed. It's just that this bulk subset of the shipping is happening now. So giving you the info as we get it. So that's what I got for you. Steve McNabb asks, is Kickstarter update planned soon with the cookbook and Art of War info? Yeah. Edit is in plan.
Read it again.
So I think it's asking if there's a backer update that's coming with the Art of War info. Yeah. Tyler actually just got this info today because I asked him if he had any news for Tuesday Newsday, and he was waiting to get email from QML and then fed this to me like 10 minutes before we went live. So I am sure he's got a backer update coming soon for you. Shadowrun questions. Killian asks, hi Killian, it's good to see you. I got to meet Killian at Origins. Cool bean. Is there an estimated price for the scroll and the dice? I'm assuming you mean the 35th anniversary ones I was talking about. Mike, do you know for the scroll?
The scroll is $149, $150.
It's a luxury item.
$149.99. Yeah, it is a luxury. Like I said, it's printed on faux silk, and it's 7 feet long, and it's insane.
Yeah. The Shadowrun dice set, I did have this earlier today, so let me see if I still have that email up. Of course I don't. I know that the dice set is $35. The trays, I think, are $20. And the Battletech dice set, I think, is $50. If I'm quoting that right from earlier.
I think you are.
Yeah. So that's our price points for those. Night Moss for Levs asks, will you potentially introduce Freddie Prinze to Leviathans as well? Listen, we got plans.
Got plans.
One of the things I talked to him about briefly in my time at C2E2 was Shadowrun. I mentioned Battletech and Shadowrun, and he was like, oh, I love Shadowrun. I haven't played in forever. And he actually is GMing a Cyberpunk game right now that's with his own system that he created. So trust me, we will plant everything with these guys that we can. So, yeah. And then, my real goal is to meet his wife, because I grew up on Buffy, I really want to.
If you go see Buffy without me, we will not be friends anymore.
Sorry, Mike. I guess we're breaking up. Board game questions. Lorcan asks, are there going to be regional hubs for overlords, or will we be hit for international shipping and import duty from the US?
That's a great question. It is a smaller Kickstarter, so it doesn't warrant us setting up things with hubs, but we are factoring in. I know we're going to subsidize a good portion of the internationals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned on that because we have a couple of ideas for fulfillment on Overlords. In terms of distribution, so stay tuned on that one. Killian asks, will the Voltron board game have minis?
Possibly. We're pricing out several different options. One of those options being what you consider traditional miniatures. Another one considering doing the acrylic cutouts with the full color image on it. We're not sure which one we want to do yet. So we don't know. We're pricing out both options.
Cool.
The interesting thing to doing, one of the reasons we're thinking about the laser cut acrylic is we're having original art generated, and the original art is stunning.
Yeah. Awesome. This is from Dave. Hi, Dave. Lots of news in the industry this year. How does the changing landscape create opportunities for CGL?
Well, as you've heard, things like Star Wars are no longer being supported. This is a great time to move into the miniature gaming market, because there is a lot of people that have either become disenfranchised with their franchise, or their franchise is no longer being supported. Catalyst welcomes anybody and everybody. There's a Catalyst game for everybody, and we like to see everyone at the table. And our miniatures games tend to come in at a much lower price point. You can try BattleTech for $25. That is not much. I pay more than that for some Magic decks. Actually, I pay significantly more than that for most of my Magic decks. There's a lot of opportunity for Catalyst, both Catalyst Prime with Battletech and Shadowrun and Leviathans, as well as board games. Board games continue to grow, and no sign of a ceiling has been even detected.
Yeah, between the Vegas licensing show and last year and this year, you talked about how many people you were able to talk to. And then I know we've even been at a couple cons, Origins and Gamescom actually, where we've been approached by significant people who are like, yep, I have a board game I want to produce, want to partner? Yes. And we're like, why?
Yeah, how did this happen, right?
So nothing, again, we can talk about until contracts are signed and we have release schedules and stuff like that. But there's just so much opportunity right now. It's pretty wild.
Gaming's for everybody.
Yeah. James Topa asked, or wanted us to share a link. If you need more board game agents. Asked if we needed more board game agents. How does one become an agent for events? Yeah, I'll drop
First, you must pass the 3 trials. No.
Let's see. Paste. Boop. There you go. Become an agent. Come play with us. All right, late questions. Yeah, we have another minute.
Sure.
Ooh, this might be a good one for you, Mike. Phoenix Risen asks, anything new on the Succession Wars board game successor?
That is being kept deeply under wraps by the BattleTech team, and I wish I knew more about it.
Okay. All right.
I think they're getting it to a point where they want to show me as kind of the person who would be overseeing it. They want to show me a pretty much fully developed product, just because they know how many other things we're working on. But I can say it's being worked on by the BattleTech team. There's
still some gray area because we have Catalyst Prime or whatever that's going to be. It's like, does BattleTech Encounters count as a board game, or does it count as BattleTech, or is it both?
It's got this logo on it. It's my game. Mine.
So whoever can plant their flag first is who it belongs to, apparently. So
And I talked to James first, so
Oh,
who
okay.
helped us design it.
Yeah, James Kirtley was our first guest from episode 1 of Tuesday
Ah,
Newsday.
James is super cool guy.
He is awesome. All right, so I think that's all the time we have for today. It is 5 o'clock. Mike, thank you for joining. Everyone in chat, thank you so much for joining and celebrating with us and sharing all the excitement. I missed Tuesday Newsday. I'll be back for most of the month of July. I will be at San Diego Comic-Con at the end of the month, but I'm not sure if that will interfere on a Tuesday or not yet with travel plans. And then the following week is Gencon, which will absolutely interfere with Tuesday Newsday.
Yeah.
But we've got some cool stuff happening at Gencon too. We've got a fiction panel. We've got like writing for CGL seminar. We've got 2 World of Shadows live plays will be happening. So you can come see me and the crew at Six Sides of Gaming. And we'll be running some Shadowrun there. So yeah, check it out. But
That'll be cool.
thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks for this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, follow us, like and subscribe. Like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, ring that bell for a special shout out, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.